So Bailey really did take Ricky Starks out for drinks on his birthday.
Cheers, Ricky Saints. Who that? Who that? Ricky Saints. Cheers, Ricky Saints.
He's lit as you can just tell. WWE has filed to trademark Calyx, the name Calyx. Now, I actually found out who Calyx is. Do you guys ready? You guys want to know who Calyx is? I'll break out a drum roll. Chat, guess while the drum rolls. Calyx is the name of ref Jessica Carr, who worked under a mask at the WWE Evolve tapings, and I believe she did a job. So there you go, man. Crazy. Keep an eye out for that when Evolve comes on in the next week or two. Titus O'Neil via ABC Action News. Titus O'Neil says he helped 300 kids go to college in the last 10 years. Big W. The big Chandran the man, says Kevin Owens is a genius. So this guy, R160 Sting, as Kathy Kelly interviews AJ Styles backstage, this guy says, bro, I had a weird-ass dream that Kevin Owens, of all people, was lecturing me about the dangers of jaywalking. And then look what he tweets out. Jaywalking is potentially very dangerous and should be avoided as much as possible, and tags the dude. Kevin Owens does that. How hilarious, man. Just shows you wrestlers are watching social media, too, all the time. So Becky Lynch addresses her future in wrestling. She says, I'm being so vague, and I don't mean to be... Okay, so AJ's being confronted by Logan Paul here. So they're setting up multiple things with Paul. Becky Lynch says, I'm being so vague, and I don't mean to be in any way cagey, but I feel like I have a great mind for wrestling, a great love for it. And so it's always going to be there in my heart and in my head. It's part of my family. It's the reason I have my family. So it's so important to me. I just don't know what that looks like in the future. And this is via the Getting Over Wrestling podcast. She says, I think life continues to surprise me in wonderful ways recently. You can make all these plans, but sometimes things don't go the way you intended. But in the long run, something works out better than you expected. I feel like that's been my whole run. Do you guys know what she's saying? She's enjoying being a mom at home and working on her books and doing movie appearances and being invited to this or that. She is getting fulfillment and happiness from things outside of the wrestling ring as Gunther makes his way to the ring. You know, Becky Lynch, she's finding joy doing other things, and I'm in a round of applause her for that, because this is what I mean, man. Being a mother's powerful, dude, and she's like falling in love with that or whatever she's doing, authoring, writing, appearances, and whatever maybe she's enjoying that better. Maybe she's enjoying just watching her baby grow up and supporting Seth right now, who's on like a crazy run. If you think about, he's just in the mix with Punk and all this Roman. We're going to have like a big money Roman Seth match down the line. Maybe she's just enjoying that better. And she's sort of subtly saying that, like, yeah, I thought I was coming back to wrestling, but, I have a great mind for it. I could always come back and help behind the scenes and maybe take a smaller role. But, life is surprising me in wonderful ways. And what has she been doing? It's not been in the ring. So I'm not saying we never get a Becky match again. And I'm not even saying this is her subtly trying to work people into saying, I'm not coming back. Then she just shows up. I don't think it's that. I think she's just expressing herself honestly. And I think she's just kind of saying, like, look, man, if I never come back, I'm just like happy right now with what I'm doing, which that's amazing, man. And she acknowledges, right? Like, wrestling gave me my family. It's my family. WWE's my family. But notice she doesn't go WWE. You know why? Because she's still going to work Tony Khan out of some money as far as levying whatever he offers her against WWE, if she didn't already do that. Like, even Randall Keith Orton did that, right? He would never actually go to AEW, but he would tease it to get more money out of WWE. Like, everyone's allowed to do that. I don't get mad when people do that. And that's what Becky on Ariel Helwani's show said. Ariel's like, so what? You would go to the other company? And she was like, no. Like, no, I'm in WWE. But she's like, well, I'm keeping my options open, and just being vague, because I think she doesn't know if she's ever going to come back to wrestling, A, for like an actual run, and B, she wants to levy that. She wants to see how much money she can really get out of people, and all the power to her. She's the man. Matt Hardy says Jeff Hardy wants to right the wrongs in WWE. And he says he wants to leave on a good note. No more erratic behavior. He wants to go back and show them who he is and delete the past until it's obsolete. Yes. I made up some of that stuff there, by the way. Boogeyman tweets out one more run. TNA. So Gunther's cutting a promo. Speaking of cutting promos, WWE LFG. So we have the teams here. Undertaker's got Elijah Holyfield, this Shiloh guy. This girl, I forget her goddamn name. And then this girl, I forget her goddamn name too. I'm so sorry. If I heard her name, I would know it on the far right because her match was so good, but I just forget it because they're all new, right? I'll know them in a couple weeks here. And then I just know this guy because it's Holyfield's kid. Then the Shiloh guys just really stand out-ish on the far left. Taker's team's really good. And yeah, I don't know. I think the guy on the far left, Shiloh, has the most potential out of everyone in the whole show. Or the sexy BJ Ray guy, even though he pisses everyone off. This lady on the far right here as well has tremendous potential. She's an Olympian. She just has a bubbly personality. She can fire up. Her match was decent. The ladies really outshining the men. Booker T's team, the Leela Lee girl, Leela Lay. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip ahead. The Leela Lay girl on the left here. Everyone's like, oh, she's a star. She looks like a star. She's going to be a star. I don't know. Like, yeah, but I feel like one of those people, she comes across as one of those people that's going to taper off for me a bit. Like, she's somebody who, you know, like when people peak too quick, that's how she seems. Like, if this is a show for people who you see the difference in the level between people. I'm not trying to shun her, but the other girl who she wrestled, it was the other girl's first match, looked better than this girl. Like, she carries herself like a star, and for sure. But this guy on the far left on Booker's team is Maxine Dupree's boyfriend. And he's okay. He was like an ex-NFL guy, and like Maxine's there for his matches. I don't know. It's kind of cringe, to be honest. I get cringed out. This girl here, P Nasty, on Booker's left, our right, if you're looking at the screen. She's a Tongan, like, rugby player. Just the realest chick there, like, for sure. She even says it. She's like, I could beat that everyone here. I got to know how to, like, unleash it a bit in the ring more. I kind of hold back a bit. She's awesome. She's really standoutish to me. I'm not going to be like, oh, Bloodline, but hey, who knows? Also, guys, when Bronson Reed comes back, he's going to be in the Bloodline, but he's going to be out a long time. But he'll be in the Bloodline too again, I guarantee it. Anyways, this big dude here on the side, he's just like a burly, snarly, just a big, like, what's his demeanor? Like a stoic, like serial killer type guy is sort of his gimmick. Then he fires up a bit. He's really good. He's green, but he's good, man. And he tries to stay in gimmick like all the time, which I like. And he doesn't like over emote really. He just like stays in character kind of. And I think he would have been better with The Undertaker, to be honest. Holyfield, but he's so high profile. That's why they stuck him with Undertaker, because I think it's a little gimmicked who they stuck who with. But I think this guy, Holyfield, would do better learning from Booker T, who would teach him how to talk more street. And because let's be honest, man, Elijah Holyfield grew up with millions of dollars and then went right to the NFL. And his dad's like, you know, one of the most famous boxers of all time. So I think he would have did better with Booker, though. Just learning, like, how to move around the ring and how to talk and convey that. I don't know. And then I think this big dude here trying to be all stoic and demonic would have been better. Not demonic, but kind of Undertaker. He would have been better with Undertaker. So that's all. But they did do a draft lottery. I just don't believe in it, man. I don't, because what are the odds some of these people like got stuck with who, not stuck, but some of these people went with just the obvious person, man. Undertaker and Holyfield was so obvious to me. As we move along, Braden Ray, BJ Ray with Bubba, obviously they were going to get stuck together because they had heat at the start of the show. And Braden Ray on the Next Gen show, which is on Roku, he is an asshole on that as well. And that's where you see the beginning. Like when he first gets recruited, he gets into a shoot fight in the PC with one of the guys in that spooky group from NXT. If you guys haven't watched Next Gen, BJ Ray and Xena Sterling were both on that show. Now, Tatiana Dumas, first off, you got to change that last name because Lita Amy Dumas is a legend. Unless she, I mean, Amy Dumas didn't go by Amy Dumas, so his team is just sort of the ragtag makeshift group, and I think that works for Bubba. He comes from the ECW days, you know? But BJ Ray has, all the potential in the world. I haven't seen him work yet, right? Like, too much. Like, even in the Next Gen show, you don't see them work too much. And they just sort of, like, jump from being completely noobs to, like, knowing what to do. In this show, they're explaining, like, everything. In LFG, they're just pulling the curtain way back. In Next Gen, they're sort of trying to present it like it's a shoot. BJ Ray, all the potential in the world. I like how he's riding for Team Bubba, though. Like, he's wearing the glasses and he's, like, putting himself out there. I want to go first, you know, and put our team on the map. I like that. Even though he's beefing with Bubba a bit, he sort of thrives off that, unless his whole character's just a work, which I don't know. Xena Sterling has a great look. Her whole bubbly personality she does in the ring, I think, is no good. I think she's got to change that up. Drake Moreau needs to be in a tag team with this Shiloh guy over here, and they need to be like the new, like, Swamp Brothers. Now, don't go Wyatt Six or the Wyatt family where you're trying to do like this prolific spooky. Just be like crazy. Be the Briscoes, the WWE's version of the Briscoes. And then Tatiana Dumas worked her first match on the show. Looked awesome, has a great demeanor, carries herself well. She's a star. She's a future WWE, like, NXT champion. You'll see. More so than any of these other girls right now. And then Mickie James' team, again, so this guy here, Mickie James was the only person to be like, I really like this guy. And at the promo class, like, everyone, Bubba Ray said he beat the shit out of this guy. Booker T was like, I'd dog walk your ass, you know? Like, in real life, dude, you do not convince me at all. And Mickie really liked these people, and so they're all with her. Do you know what I mean? Like, she was more so stuck her neck out for all these people than they wound up on her team. That just feels like a work to me. And also, a way it felt like a work was the first two people got to pick their coaches. So Maxine Dupree's boyfriend picked Booker T in episode 1, and then this lady here on the far right picked Undertaker in episode 1. And then everyone else got picked out of draft lottery. The first two people to get picked out of the draft lottery just so happened to go to Team Bubba and Team Mickie James, who had no one on their team. And then from there, the lottery was on an even playing field. It just felt worked. It's pro wrestling. A lot of these people, you have to remember, BJ Ray's been in the NXT system for like 9 months when they started filming the show. Over a year at this point now. Okay, he's been around Booker before. He's been around. He's met these people before. He's been around these guys. He hasn't been around Bubba as much because he's like sort of new. Then they're butting heads and they stick them together. Xena Sterling knows Shawn Michaels. Has been training with him for a year now. Some of these people, like Tatiana Dumas, is very new there. This girl here was like 1 week in the PC on Mickie James' team, right? And she had one of the best promos of all the women when they did the promo segment. But it is a little bit worked and gimmicked because some of these people are already like seasoned in as far as the PC is concerned. You know what I mean? And some of them were on Next Gen, and some of the Next Gen people are on NXT TV now. So just think about that, you know? So yeah, I love this show so much. That's my breakdown so far of it, of the last like couple weeks. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, man, that's my breakdown of the teams. And don't be mad at the show if it's a little gimmicked. Don't be mad at that. Like, it's wrestling. They got to carny it up. So Jey Uso ran out. They're getting all the babyface energies on him because he's out there saving fan favorite Otis and Akira Tozawa from getting humiliated and choked out by Gunther. I watched that whole go down. Amazing. Okay. Jacob Fatu, again, we're breaking the fourth wall with this dude, man. He is one of the nicest guys ever. Last show we played him helping Lex Luger, his wheelchair, and being like, hey, man, I'm the Samoan's nephew, and, you know, I'm the Fatu's nephew in them, you know? So just letting you know, brother, like, take care. And Luger's like, oh, okay, showing his respects. And here he is. He took a FaceTime call with a fan, dude, and surprised him. And he's just a really good dude outside the ring. And it's really good to see, especially knowing, like, the world he came from, bro. The upbringing he came from.
Oh, good.
So I don't know, just making this fans. He's putting the one up. Yeah, dude. Jacob's going to be running his own bloodline too, so that's awesome. Zilla Fatu, speaking of Fatu, says that Rey Mysterio told him, "We're waiting for you," when they reunited at the Animeverse convention in Houston, Texas. He was just saying, keep going. We're going to see you soon. He was like, keep working, keep grinding. We're waiting for you. I told Ray if Dom got out of place one more time, he knows who to call. Yeah, they got to bring Zilla in. I think they are. People say he's problematic. I say give him a chance. They said the same about Punk. They said the same about Jacob. Give him a chance, man. So WWE referee Jessica Carr wrestles at Evolve tapings. So she wrestled under a mask and was like a jobber. And her name is Kalix or whatever. Here's one of the legends, DDP, on the stalker angle and the lesson he learned. And this is on 6 Feet Under. Shout out Undertaker and DDP, man. DDPY.
If I was keeping my same mindset into WWE that I was already using, if he would have said, "We want you to stalk Undertaker's wife," I'd have looked at him, I'd have looked at her, and I looked at him, I say, "Are you looking at my wife? She's the most beautiful chick ever."
If you guys don't know, DDP's wife, Kimberly Page, is that cougar in 40-Year-Old Virgin whose titty falls out while she's talking to Steve Carell. You guys know that movie? That's his wife. So, yes, a smoke show.
And you want me to stalk, of all people, Undertaker's wife? You know, that's what I would have said.
Right.
And I would have went, "Listen, when you want to do People's Champion versus People's Champion, give me a call." What I learned, I didn't say that. I did pitch the idea of doing it. And the pitch, which I'll give you in a second, it's really good. Friggin', I didn't say that.
Imagine that, though. WCW's People's Champion versus WWF's People's Champion. The Rock versus DDP. No physical title, unless The Rock broke that belt out years earlier. But no physical belt, just the People's Championship. That's the match. That's the biggest fumble ever in WWE's book, DDP.
And what I had to go through in my head over time, because I didn't, like, I would kill to work with you a year earlier when I didn't come in with that friggin' heat.
Right.
And I was being booked differently. And that's what people don't understand. It's like, you didn't do it. You were booked that way.
Booked that way.
To beat the WCW down, it was a fluke. Those 83 weeks were a fluke. It was what it was. But I learned and the only reason I'm building this beautiful place on the beach at Panama City Beach,
what they should have did was had Chris Kanyon come in, be the stalker of Undertaker's wife, and then Undertaker like destroys him in a casket match or something like that, and then he comes back as Mortis and beefs with Kane. That would have been coolest.
No mortgages on anything. The only reason I can do that, I learned a very valuable lesson from Vince McMahon that day. You can't be afraid to get up and walk away from the table. If I was
great advice too. You can't be afraid to get up and walk away from that table. Wrestlers who sign with AEW and ruin their careers. No, I'm just joking. Sami Zayn says his voice feels heard when talking about WWE creative. Let's hear what he's got to say. Speaking of his voice being heard.
Do the powers that be hear a no from Sami Zayn very often?
I don't think they hear no, but they hear ideas. That's for sure. They hear a lot of them. And I think I've been pretty fortunate over the years to have a pretty decent success rate to where it's given me a certain amount of equity with them that my ideas will be heard. And again, I'll also give a little bit of credit to the sort of change in creative and the creative shift over the years, last couple of years under Triple H, but even a little bit prior to that, just with my relationship and the creative team, to where just my voice feels heard. And, they're not going to do everything I suggest, but, they don't look at it like, God, these wrestlers giving us these ideas. And some wrestlers might give bad ideas. I hope I'm not throwing anything bad out there. So I'll throw a lot out there, and I really appreciate having a voice that's heard and like being met, or if an idea doesn't work, they kind of explain.
Yeah, well, he feels heard, and yeah, there you go. Shout out Flames Nation. This guy here, Jason G from the SAT, had this to say. He says, the more I watch that Rock promo from Friday SmackDown, the more it bothers me. Several things. One, The Rock wants Cody to be his champion, which he already said Cody was post-Mania 40 and acknowledged all the great things Cody has done as champion. Two, The Rock wants Cody to be his corporate champion. But isn't that what Cody is? He is literally the definition of a corporate champion. He dresses the part. He goes to every WWE media event, Make-A-Wish, etc. This makes no sense. Three, The Rock can make all of Cody's dreams come true. But didn't Cody fulfill his dreams by winning the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship title at WrestleMania? I really hope The Rock cleans this up. So I just really disagreed with that whole take. I sort of dissected it, and I wrote, I don't think The Rock actually spoke the words corporate champion. That's the IWC saying that. He acknowledged Cody, but he didn't say, now you do my bidding and I'll have your back. He simply put his accomplishment over. It wasn't just about Cody's dreams. It was about being elevated to the elite status of the world. Cody Rhodes wanted to be an actor. The Rock's the biggest actor on earth. Someone who has 100 million is in a different league than 10 million, which is a different league than 1 million. Rock promised him generational wealth and everything that comes with being at the elitist level in exchange for his soul. Cody's done everything his way in his career and has had to scratch and claw for every inch of success and respect in the business. The Rock is now saying, do it my way, jump when I say, and I'll make this easy for you and every Rhodes after you, but I own you. Makes perfect sense and would be tempting offer for any man. It's just the devil, bro. He's trying to buy his soul now. That's all it is, bro. He couldn't beat him, and he couldn't beat him for the title, so now he wants his soul. He wants to make him sell out and beat him that way. This is just classic, the devil tempting. Like, I like the story. I'm all down with it. It makes perfect sense to me. So hopefully you guys agree with that. And let's take a break and focus in on this match. I want Dakota Kai to win. Chat, let me know what you think about my assessment there. Am I off? Am I right? What do you guys think? Cody at the crossroads. Yeah, dude. So report, WWE staff upset with minimal raises, reduced benefits despite record profits. So the Observer says that. Fightful says that. All the dirt sheets all at once, they have this initiative out of nowhere with this story. No, there's no names being named. Hey, the locker room's mad. All the staff's being undercut. They got raises, but they were just little ones, and they're really upset about this. Who? No one. That's not true, man. There's like this push right now during Elimination WrestleMania season because this chamber has The Rock, Cena, Punk, and then Mania is going to have all the same people, and Stone Cold's probably coming back. And you know what I mean? Like, at least for a one-off, might come out if there's a tribal combat or so. Who knows, right? Might just come out and kick the whole show off or whatever. But, you know, there's going to be big popping at Mania. And Hulk Hogan's coming back, brother. But all I'm saying is that, yeah, this is made up, man. There's no names to these reports. There's no names to the women in the back who are apparently all frustrated, even though they're being featured so prominently on television and on PLEs as well. They have a whole chamber match coming up and more opportunities and more titles for that have to be on the Mania card. Like, if there's no U.S. title match for the women on the Mania card, people are going to be pissed. Maybe one of the belts can, like, be on the go-home show or something, but yeah, it's just definitely a bunch of people making up, and you're going to see all the usual suspects. And it's weird. It's like, man, if you guys aren't getting paid to shill, then it's an L. Like, I would rather find out they're actually getting paid for this, because it's just getting gross at this point, you know? And none of them. Where's the mass outpour of stories about Thunder Rosa and Megan Bayne? And this Nemeth, it's just all like, and yes, there are stories about the Nemeth shit because you can't avoid it, but it's all like, look at how bad Punk is, and then it's same with the Megan Bayne thing. It's like, oh, there was a funny situation on Dynamite. It's like, no, man, people were going into business for themselves again. Like, what's going on? Why doesn't Thunder Rosa get along with anybody? What the, you know? So to me, I feel like this is like a concerted effort. I truly feel that way, man. And I don't want to be the black helicopters. Oh, it's a conspiracy. There's Narwater. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to do all that, but for real, dude, I'm putting my Tony Khan conspiracy cap on and laughing at this, you know? So let's read this one from WrestleOps. At the same time as the company is posting record financial results in the TKO era, multiple WWE employees have described a decline in morale. Who? Name them, because nobody said that. Everybody's saying the morale's better. When you ask the dirt sheets, they're all saying, oh, there's a decline in morale. When you ask all the wrestlers, they go, it's never been better. We're so happy under the Triple H era. This is the greatest whatever. There's more opportunities. We feel heard. There's women on the roster giving interviews saying, we feel heard. This is so much better than it used to be. Da-da-da-da. Like, just madness, man. So these people are all lying. I'm calling it out for the lies, and they keep taking L's. And that's why. And Tony's sweating like,
tell us what you know, you goddamn liar.
And I know, like, if there's initiative of, oh, tell good stories or tell stories about them. Let's say that is the case. Just let's theorize if it is. He's doing it right now, dude. He's desperate right now, especially with Mania season coming up. And I won't lie, whenever there's an AEW pay-per-view, a bunch of stories start coming out too, it seems like. But a lot of times, though, when we even think it's, people end up confirming it, like the wrestlers themselves, by they say in interviews or by proxy of whatever. For instance, it's like when Awful Wrestling's like, dude, I got a report Fletcher's buddy had to get them a ring from an indie PWA or whatever. And then QT Marshall, just by like arguing and talking, confirms whatever, whoever's stooging to Awful. Now Awful goes, this guy might be right about others that I might have brushed off or might have brushed off in the future because he was right about this. And QT talking confirms it, They keep doing that. The Ryan Nemeth suit. It's like Punk beat the shit out of two, molly-whopped two EVPs there, just sort of confirms the sentiment, at least. I don't know. Here's Pat McAfee before Raw went on the air. CM Punk locked him in a porta potty, as Jimmy the King would say. Daddy just made you his house bitch. Lyra and Dakota are having a pretty goddamn solid match here thus far. McAfee's locked in the porta potty.
What happened?
Something happened. I was in there going to the restroom and I felt this. I didn't miss a.
Damn, just getting ribbed, bud. So, former WWE star Nixon Newell, Tegan Knox, says Becky Lynch fought tooth and nail behind the scenes to work with her on Raw. She said, I think it was a case of Becky wanted to work with me, so I did. I was hoping it would go somewhere. I was hoping people would go, oh, she can actually wrestle. Like, let's give her something. But there's so many people in that company that it's hard to get on your feet and running unless something insane happens. I just don't think it was my time. Again, not bitter, just saying the time didn't line up. Lyra defends against Dakota Kai. I don't know, man. I'm just not super into Lyra. I got to be honest. I'd prefer Kai being the champion. But speaking of Becky, Lyra is Becky's girl. So that she's getting a bit of a push and she's gotten the rub already from that. Kai hugging it out with her. And unfortunately, hopefully Kai lives to fight another day. The Rock's production company is now fully under the Disney umbrella. So we're getting Mickey Mouse soon. So Sami Zayn talks about his experience working on WWE Raw now that it's on Netflix. So again, does this sound like, everything? And then people talk too, like, well, the women are frustrated. Like, it's even separate that much. The men and women aren't all riding the same ship right now. Like, come on, dude.
The Netflix premiere obviously felt like a really big deal. And that's us like welcome, that's us putting on our best face and say, hey, this is a new audience. This is who we are. This is what we do. And that was really cool. But then, it's still business as usual every other week for the next 10 years. So I don't feel a huge difference. There's maybe a little tiny bit. And I mean, it's not as much as you would think, because obviously there's more, rules and regulations and constricts with broadcast television, or even cable television, but, with regards to the length of time of segments and commercial breaks and all that sort of thing. And you'd think with Netflix that there's a lot more flexibility with that. There's not a ton of it. So it doesn't feel terribly different. I mean, maybe there's a tiny bit more.
So yeah, nothing's really changed. It's crazy seeing on the premiere ad too. They got the Coffee Brothers and Wendy Chu down there. So Meltzer said what? Response to Sports Illustrated by saying, so yeah, this report, though, that claims changes made after the TKO takeover have resulted in the decline of morale. And SI Wrestling, the decline. Meltzer said what? Points out fake news garbage by Bixen Training. So this whole thing Oh, the morale backstage. It's from Brandon Thirsty Thurston. Brandon, I delete tweets because awful Thurston. Because my math just made WWE look really good, Thurston. And David Bixenspan. Don't leave my bedroom, David Bixenspan. So that's why you know it's lies. And that's why we don't buy into that. And as I pointed out earlier in the show, Sports Illustrated very much a pro AEW for whatever reason, which again, that doesn't matter if you're pro AEW. Just matters when you're chilling like Bixenspan and some of these idiots.
Liar!